Peace. Okay. All right. May peace and power elevation be to all of you on this beautiful morning going into the afternoon or whatever your time zone may be. This is your girl Tiffany coming through live in effect right here on the StreamYard. So I am streaming both from Facebook and YouTube. If you are on YouTube, make sure that you share and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. If you are on Facebook, make sure you share this channel or this page. Share the video. So today, history. We're gonna talk about Maulana Karenga. Today is Maulana Karenga's birthday. So why not give a background and history about Mr. Karenga? Now, some people may feel some kind of way about him, and then there are those who don't really know who he is. So for those of you that don't know, he's the one that founded the US organization, and there was controversy behind it. And then he also founded the holiday that people celebrate after or during Christmas, after Christmas, which is Kwanzaa. So we're going to give a history about his background, right? And then we're going to play one of his interviews that he have done. And then from there, I'm going to end it off. So let's go ahead. All right. So this is Dr. Maulana Karenga. Yes. That's Dr. Maulana Karenga right there, as you can see. That's a picture of him. So let's get into his history. Right here. Wikipedia. So here it goes. Maulana Karenga, previously known as Ron Karenga, Robert McKinley Everett, was born July 14, 1941. All right. Let's go back to his early life. Now, Karenga was born in Harrisonburg, Maryland, the 14th child and 17th son in the family. The 14th child and the 7th son in the family. His father was a tenant farmer and a Baptist minister who employed the family to work fields under effective sharecropping arrangement. Everett moved to Los Angeles in 1959, joined his older brother who was a teacher there, and attended Los Angeles City College. He became active with civil rights organization, Congress of Racial Equality, which is known as CORE, and Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Took an interest in African studies and was elected as LACC's first African American student president. Okay. After earning his associate degree, he matriculated at the University of California, Los Angeles, and earned BA and an MA degrees in political science. He studied Swahili, Arabic, and other African related subjects. Among his influences at UCLA were Jamaican anthropologist and Negritudes Council Taylor, who contested the Eurocentric view of alien culture as primitive. During this period, he took the name Karenga, Swahili for keeper of tradition, and the title Maulana, Swahili Arabic for master teacher. So he's the master teacher of keeper of tradition. Okay, interesting. So now let's talk about his organization, US. All right. So, the Watts riot broke out when Karenga was a year into his doctoral studies. The Black Congress was formed as a community rebuilding organization in the aftermath. Within the BC, a discussion group centered on Black nationalist ideas called the Circle of Seven was formed, which included Hakeem Jamal, cousin of Malcolm X, and Karenga. The group published Us magazine, meaning Us Black People, and in 1966 formed an organization called Us. The organization joined in several community revival programs and was featured in press reports. Karenga cited Malcolm X's Afro-American Unity Program as an influence on the Us organization work. And Malcolm was the major African American thinker that influenced me in terms of nationalism and Pan Africanism. As you know, towards the end, when Malcolm is expanded his concept of Islam and of nationalism, he stresses Pan Africanism in a particular way. And he argues that, and this is where we have the whole idea that cultural revolution and the need for revolution. He argues that we need a cultural revolution. He argues that we must return to Africa culturally and spiritually, even if we can't go physically. And so that's a tremendous impact on us. So, as you can see, he founded the US organization in 1966. Okay, and the philosophy is centered around, or supposed to be centered around, Pan Africanism, and what brought his influence was Malcolm X. Malcolm was one of his biggest influence, which is why he started his organization. Okay, so let's go down here. Karenga soon diverged from Malcolm X's idea on Black nationalism and took us in a different, more focus on promoting African culture. Jamal and other adherents to Malcolm X's idea left the group. Okay. And here it is. As racial disturbance spread across the country, Karenga appeared at a series of Black Power conferences, joining other groups in urging the establishment of a separate political structure for African Americans. US developed a youth component with paramilitary aspects called the Simba Wachanga, which advocated and practiced community self-defense and services to the masses. And it goes to say in 1966, Karenga founded the newspaper Harambee, which started as a newsletter for us and eventually became the newspaper for the Los Angeles Black Congress, an umbrella organization for several groups. It says during the late 1960s, the US organization became bitter rivals with the Black Panther Party. Now, this is where the conflict comes in about the whole Black Panther and the US organization over their differing views on Black nationalism. The Federal Bureau of Investigation intensified this ant, ant, um, antipathy as part of its COINTELPRO operation, sending forged letters to each group who purport to be from the other group. So therefore it's saying that the FBI was infiltrating both of the groups. So they were having people playing both sides. Okay, that makes sense. And let's go. It says, was sending forged letters to each group which purported to be from the other group, so that each would believe that the other was publicly humiliating them. The rivalry came to a climax during 1969 with a series of armed confrontations and uh, retaliatory shootings that left 4 Panthers dead. So it went from someone infiltrating both of these organizations, and then they end up having a rivalry in 1969 that turned to like confrontation and retaliation to where 4 Panthers were dead and more injured on both sides. A memoriam of the Los Angeles field officer of the FBI dated May 26, 1970, confirmed that the surge of conflict suited their objectives and more would be encouraged. And let's read what it says. It is intended that us incorporation would be discreetly and appropriately advised of the time and location of Black Panther Party activities in order that the two organizations might be brought together and thus grant nature the opportunity to take her due course. Mm. Hmm. So let me stop right there. Mm. That was interesting. So all the time, the FBI was infiltrating both of these organizations, found a way to pin them up against each other, and it resulted to where there was retaliation and gunfires to where 4 members of the Panthers were killed. See, I didn't know this part. This is amazing. Well, I wouldn't say amazing as in positive, but this is absolutely revealing, but not so surprising, but very revealing. I didn't know this detail. But let's go ahead and continue on, shall we? Okay. According to Louis Tackwood, a former informant with the Los Angeles Police Department's Criminal Conspiracies Section and author of the Glass House tapes, Maulana Karenga was not only provided financial arms and other support by LAPD. Let's read that again. According to Louis Tackwood, a former informant with the Los Angeles Police Department's criminal conspiracy section and author of the Glass House tape, Maulana Karenga was not only provided financial arms and other support by LAPD, with Tackwood as liaison for U.S. operation against the Black Panthers. Karenga enjoyed a level of trust among figures in government, including LAPD Chief Thomas Redding and California Governor Ronald Reagan. Wait a minute. Reagan? Ronald Reagan? The president? Ronald Reagan? Uh, uh, okay. Very strange. Mm. Alrighty. Alrighty. Wow. Ronald Reagan. So, hmm. Mm. Okay, I will remain quiet on that one. Now let's get to the part about Kwanzaa. Yeah, let's get to the part about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa, the holiday. Okay. So, he started the Kwanzaa holiday, right? I see why so many. Well, we're going to go back about the whole government thing later. But anyway, let's get to Kwanzaa. So, Karenga created Kwanzaa in 1966 to be the first Pan-African holiday. Karenga said his goal was to give blacks an alternative to the existing holiday and give blacks an opportunity to celebrate themselves and their history rather than simply imitate the practice of the dominant society. Kwanzaa is inspired by African first fruit tradition, and the name chosen is from Swahili Matunda ya Kwanzaa. Matunda ya Kwanzaa. The rituals of the holiday promote African tradition and Ngozo Saba, the seven principles of African heritage that Karenga described as a communitarian African philosophy. So now, here are the seven principles that we know in Kwanzaa. Umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujichagulia, self-determination to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Ujima, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Ujama, Ujama, or Ujama, cooperative economics to build and maintain our own stores, shop, and other businesses to profit from them together. Nia, to make our collective vocation the building and development of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Kumba, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. Imane, which is faith, to believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. All right, so you know what? Let me start real quick. Kwanzaa happens to be one of my favorite holidays to celebrate because of these principles. Not because of the founder, but the principles. Um, and I will say this: it's a very good holiday, in my opinion, because it's about the fact that people cannot just really just only come together, but really focus on these principles at the same time and try to implement the ideas, and stress the importance of having these principles. So that's one of the reasons why I celebrate Kwanzaa, because I honor and I respect those principles. So I can give him kudos for Kwanzaa. I give him kudos for that. Yeah, so let's continue with his story. It doesn't end there. Criminal conviction and imprisonment. Okay. Now, in 1971, Karenga was sentenced to 1 to 10 years in prison on counts of felonious assault and imprisonment. One of the victims gave testimony of how Karenga and other men tortured her and another woman. The woman described having been stripped, beaten with an electrical cord. Karenga's estranged wife, Belinda Lorraine Karenga, testified that she sat on the other woman's stomach while another man forced water into her mouth through a hose. Hmm. A May 14, 1971 article in the Los Angeles Times described the testimony of one of the women. Deborah Jones, who once was given the Swahili title of an African queen, she said, and Gal Davis were, said she and Gal Davis were whipped with an electrical cord and beaten with a karate baton after being ordered to remove their clothes. She testified that a hot soldering iron was placed in Miss Davis' mouth and placed against Miss Davis' face, and that one of her big toe was tightened in a vice. Karenga, head of us, also put detergent and running hose in their mouths. She said they also were hit on the heads with toasters. You know what? Before I continue on, let me stop right here. This is one of the reasons why I don't join organizations. This is one of the reasons why I don't join organizations. Because of what goes on behind the scenes. These women now, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people, or I won't say a lot of people, or some people have an issue with Maulana Karenga because of what he was charged with. Now, others believe that he did not do it. He had nothing to do with that. This is my actual first time reading this man's biography and his history. And it's not so pleasant of what I'm hearing. But you know what? I'm not too surprised because, there was plenty black organizations, let's be honest, that have done a lot of horrifying things, especially in particularly with women and children. I wouldn't say a lot of black, or well, I would say there were some black organizations that did a lot of horrifying things. It was very horrifying to where many people just left and didn't want to be bothered anymore. Didn't want to have any type of association attachment to. We're not talking about just social organization. We're talking about religious, political. Yeah. There's always that story of abuse or rape taking place. Hmm. Mm. But let's go ahead and continue on. Okay. All right. So it says Jones and Brenda Karenga testified that Karenga believed the women were conspiring to poison him, which Davis has attributed to a combination of ongoing police pressure and his own drug abuse. Hmm. Karenga denied any involvement in the torture and argued that the prosecution was political in nature. Huh? Wait a minute. He said what? The Karenga denied any involvement in the torture and argued that the prosecution was political in nature. He was in prison at the California men's colony, where he studied and wrote on feminism, Pan-Africanism, and other subjects. The US organization fell in disarray during his absence and was disbanded in 1974 after he petitioned several black state officials to support his parole on fair sentencing grounds. It was granted in 1975. Karenga has declined to discuss the conviction with reporters and does not mention them in biographical materials. Mm. During a 2007 appearance at Wabash College, he again denied charges and described himself as a former political prisoner. I mean, that's what you want to do when you want to get away from the spotlight. When you don't want to look back on your past and you don't want the past to hunt you down, you're going to do whatever you can to deny it. Now, I personally believe that just reading this alone, it was a possibility that he was involved in it. It was a possibility because it was his organization and he was the leader. It was a possibility. But I can't say everything because I wasn't there. But just by reading this information, it's pretty mind blowing. I mean, I'm surprised nobody ever like confronted him about it, like, other people. I'm surprised that, this was no longer discussed in the community and was thrown under the bus basically. But, let's go ahead, continue. Hmm. Okay, so all right, let's look at later career. After his parole, Karenga reestablished the US organization under a new structure. He was awarded his first PhD in 1976 from United States International University, now known as Alliance International University, for a 170-page dissertation entitled Afro-American Nationalism, Social Strategy, and Struggle for Community. Later in his career, in 1994, he was awarded a second PhD in social ethics from the University of Southern California, USC, for an 803-page dissertation entitled Ma'at, The Moral Ideals in Ancient Egypt, a study in classical African ethics. In 1977, he formulated a set of principles called Kuwada, a Swahili term for normal. Karenga called on African Americans to adopt his secular humanism and reject other practices as mythical. Hmm. Okay, Karenga chairs the Africana Study Department of California State University, Long Beach. He is the director of the Kawada Institute for Pan-African Studies and the author of several books, including his Introduction to Black Studies, a comprehensive Black/African Studies textbook now in its fourth edition, originally published in 1982. He is also known for having co-hosted in 1984 a conference that gave rise to the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. And in 1995, he sat on the, the organization committee and authored the mission statement of the Million Man March. Hmm. And then it says Karenga delivered a eulogy at the 2001 funeral service of new Black Panther Party leader Khalid Abdul Muhammad, praising him for his organizing activity and commitment to Black empowerment. In 2002, scholar Malifi Kente Asante listed Maulana Karenga on his list of 100 greatest African Americans. Hmm. What an interesting story about Maulana Karenga. Um, I mean, just the part that really stood out to me is those women. That's the one that really stood out the most. I just can't get over the fact that you put an iron in somebody's mouth and then put it on their face and then shove a water hose down their mouth and put detergent and stuff. That's the part that is mind boggling. Um, that's the part I probably won't ever get past. Hmm. But again, what do you expect? What really goes on behind social, political, and religious organization? As much as a person can be very devoted and dedicated, there are always going to be some dirty stuff going on. This is why we have to be careful when we try to put people on pedestal and idolizing them, because humans, we carry flaws. Humans carry flaws. And that's a fact. That's a fact. But I'm not going to speak very ill about the man. Um, but yeah, I'm not too surprised. I mean, like, there's some of the stuff that I believe in this article to be true. And there's some stuff that I have some more questions about. Especially come down with the Black Panther Party and the US organization and the infiltration and stuff. Um, like, who were the informants that was behind all of this? Who were the informants that infiltrated both sides? Because the FBI, they use informants. So who are these informants? That's the question. Who was the person that acted as the Black Panther, and who was the person that acted as the US organization? But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the interview that he did. So he did an interview with the history makers, and it's on their website, thehistorymakers.org. This is where he did the interview. It was back in 2002. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this interview real fast.
Now, so Malcolm was very important to us as a teacher, as a mentor. I met Malcolm in '62, and the first time I met him, we he took me home afterward. We went and talked. It's a restaurant. It used to be a restaurant on 51st and Main, the Muslim restaurant. And you after the mosque, you would go over there and eat bean pie and talk abstract. So Malcolm welcomed us. We were right from UCLA, welcomed us like that. We talked a long time. And every time since when he would come in town, I would try to get there. And in fact, when there was a crisis, Malcolm asked me to be the MC for a memorial for Ronald 26X, who was shot by the police. I don't know if you remember that. But famous. That's the same way. Even in the movie, it shows the picture of the yes, and the poster. It's the famous picture of Malcolm showing the poster. Yes, shot. That was it. Yeah, that was a major police shooting of the Muslims at that time, and I learned a lot from Malcolm, and I always enjoyed his coming in and the brilliance of his intellect. I'm writing now a book on his social ethical thought because people usually think of ethics and think of king and they think Christianity, but Islam has ethics, and certainly Malcolm had an ethical philosophy. And I think he has a rich legacy that's still to be tapped. And I challenge all those people who've written books on him who seem to be janitors of history looking for stench and stain and reductively translating his message. Mine is to speak his special culture truth and to show the brilliance of his mind and the incisiveness of his analysis. That's what I wanted to show. The rest of FBI Hoover got data for all this, you know? This is like writing a book on King and trying to talk about King, what he didn't do and all that. The question is, what does he mean to us, you see? And one of the problems I find with modern black intellectuals, is that they've so limited themselves to deconstructionism that mainly what they do is janitorial service, look for stench and stain, peel and paint, and criticize and condemn things, but they have no capacity for conceptual generation. That is, the production of concepts to enrich and expand our lives, to give us the capacity to understand ourselves and assert ourselves in dignity affirming ways in the world. That's a whole different kind of project.
Okay, that was Maulana Karenga talking about Malcolm X. And the part that he talking about black scholars doing janitorial work. No, that was something I disagree with him on, because when you dealing with an individual or you looking at their background, their history, you gotta look at both sides. You can't just look at the positive things that the person done, but you also have to look at the, the negative things too. So, and it each has to balance out. So you can't just say, well, we just gonna focus on the positive and like forget about the negative, because that's like telling half of the story, not telling enough story. So you gotta tell the whole story, right? If you're gonna talk about what the person have done, based on what you have researched so far. So if it's gonna talk about negatives and positive, you gotta look at both sides. But I wanna pull up something real fast. Just give me a second. And I want to pull up something from Dr. John Henry Clark and his thought on Dr. Maulana Karenga. Oh, I just want to tell y'all something. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the band called Mtunde. Was it Mtume? If anybody heard of Mtume, the one that did the song called Juicy and You, Me, and He. All right, well, the founder of that band, right? Mtume, he was a member of the US organization. And that's how he got the name. It was Maulana Karenga that gave him that name. So you guys look it up, Mtume, the group, and look up the brother that was a part of the US organization. So yeah, he was a member of the US. Let me look up well, you know what? I'm gonna say that for a later date. Um anyways, yeah, cause the video is pretty long. So I'll say that for a later date, to talk about Dr. John Henry Clark. But anyways, you guys, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all be safe out there during this pandemic. Please take it seriously. This is not nothing to play around with. So may peace and power elevation be to all of you. Until next time. All right, now take it easy, and I will talk to you guys later. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the YouTube channel. Um, Also, make sure you share this channel if you haven't done so. And then make sure if you're on Facebook, you share this video on Facebook. All right. And I will keep you guys posted on topics. So whenever I come back, if I come back later on, I'll do a video. If not, I'll do it the next following day. Until then, peace. And you guys take it easy. Thank you.